guys, this is Lord Chael speaking on behalf of our show sponsor, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on a Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lords and ladies. They allow you to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so you can officially call yourself a lord or a lady. Established Titles is not just about your ego. You also get to do some good. In addition to your new fancy title, Established Titles supports global charities like One Tree Planet and Trees for the Future to help with the afforestation effort. Your title pack gets you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land in a private estate in Scotland. Your certificate features a unique plot number where you can see the exact location of your land. And right now, Established Titles is holding 200 plots of land right next to mine. So come join me in the Bad Guy Inc. Kingdom. Getting this certificate even allows you to officially change your name to Lord or Lady. Put it on your credit card, put it on your plane tickets, or if you're so inclined, put it on your dating profile. Makes for a great last-minute gift, and there's even couples packs that come with adjoining plots of land. Established Titles is having a great limited-time sale. Go to establishedtitles.com/Chael to save 10% off today. Remember to use the promo code Chael, or just click on the link below. Well, things haven't changed in Suga Sean's life. I mean, has anybody noticed that, though? Sometimes it's really important, and it's a lot of fun to do as a fan to see, hey, what's different now? For a meaningful period of time, Sean was the biggest star at 135. That's just the truth. Sean had the beautiful placement on the card. That's just the truth. He did not have the ranking. You had world champions that Sean called out. They wouldn't fight him. He wasn't ranked high enough. Those world champions are jerking the curtain at a little past noon for a card that doesn't even go live for the world till 5 p.m. I mean, these kinds of things happen, but we're not going to call out Sean and we're not going to fight Sean because Sean isn't ranked high enough. Now, he's got the beautiful placement on the card. He's making more money. He's getting more attention, but we begrudge him for that. Damn you, Sean. You don't deserve this. You're taking the spot and the opportunity that I have worked hard for. But this is a real belief. You guys have heard it. Many of you co-signed the statement. Many of you guys backed that up. Sean should not have that placement on the card. Sean should not be getting all the questions at the press conference. Sean shouldn't be making this money. Sean should be reduced and deduced to his ranking, of which was none. He had no ranking at all. This was the truth. And Sean, quite frankly, was a bit of a gentleman about it. He really didn't call guys out. You, the audience, began to take Sean's silence in calling guys out as Sean's cooperation with the matchmaking process. It wasn't. There was once upon a time Sean fought a guy who hadn't been signed to the company. Guy came in on short notice and did the fight. You took Sean agreeing to those matches as Sean's cooperation with this, but it wasn't true. So when Sean finally did start to speak up, he called for those top guys. He couldn't get them. They didn't want him. He would end up with somebody else, and then you guys would come back and say, ha, I told you so. Sean really doesn't want to do the fight. I mean, this happened, and I'm not blaming you. I'm not pointing the finger at all. I'm just bringing you across and upon a accurate timeline. So in Sean's process of speaking up and him being denied by higher ranked guys, him being denied for world champion, he found a game opponent named Jon. Now, Jon wasn't only a higher ranked guy, he was the highest ranked guy. Jon was not only good enough to compete for world championships, he used to be the world champion, right? The gig is up. The gig's up. Any favoritism that you had and any helpful way you had, you were going to combine all of that into one bad night for you, and that night is called Peter Yan. Sean then beat him. Now, I don't want to begrudge this decision back and forth because we don't have an argument. Everybody saw the same thing, but everybody's saying the same thing. That includes Sean. Everybody's on the same page with how that night went, but we do have a new ranking. And the new ranking for Suga Sean is number 1. And nobody that I have heard has called him out. Now, they didn't call him out a week ago because he didn't have a high enough ranking. They didn't call him out a month ago because they couldn't get anything from it because he didn't have a high enough ranking. Now he does, and mum is still the word. Why? Why is that okay? Why are you letting these guys slide? And do you see the advantage that a 135-pounder would have had by inserting themselves in the Suga Sean sweepstakes a week ago. Now, these are risks that you have to take. If you go and put everything behind Suga Sean and Peter Yan wins, you're left there holding the bag. Maybe you're even going to have to fight Sean. You can't really get anything for it, right? There's a big risk. But if you would have done that, if you would have hedged your bet, you at least have a 50% chance. Staying absolutely quiet, you now have no chance. And this should be happening absolutely everywhere. There should have been a whole bunch of guys getting up Islam's ass and a whole bunch of guys getting up Charles's ass because they think that he's going to win. That's the way that this game is played. So what do you do with Sean? He's got no heat anywhere. He's got no beef with absolutely anybody. It's not because he doesn't want it. It's because nobody went out there and created it. Now they're seeing, oh my goodness, I could be a number one contender. I'm probably going to be in a main event. I'm definitely going to be in a featured spot. I just didn't know he could win. I did absolutely nothing. But they're still continuing to do nothing, right? I mean, like, that is open season. It is completely open season for a 35-pounder to go stick their nose into Sean's business because nobody else has. He's over there sitting there. Sean's looking to get into it with somebody. He's got nobody to go after. I mean, there's a rule in politics, you don't punch down. It's why you'll see governors pick on the president, but you'll never see the president pointing out the governor. It's a very peculiar spot. Sean and Henry seem to be eligible for the same thing. I don't think anybody in good faith could tell you that Henry Cejudo does not deserve a world title fight. For Henry to return for the championship that he never lost, I don't think they could tell you in good faith that that's not a reasonable request. I also don't think anybody could tell you in good faith that Suga Sean does not deserve to be the number one contender. In this sport, you beat a former champion, you get to fight for the championship. When you beat a former champion, only one fight removed, oh, by the way, who was the number one contender, right? I mean, it's a pretty tough thing to deny him. So now we got to go back to head-to-head competition. This is the way straight line bracketing works. Straight line pairing. When you have a competitive architecture, if all things are the same by the time you get to the end of the night, which is known as a round robin, if you don't know what this language is, just bear with me, but all things being the same, you will turn to head-to-head competition. Who beat who head-to-head if you're tied? Now, Suga Sean tried to fight Henry Cejudo. That's true. I watched that happen. Henry Cejudo looked as though he accepted a fight with Suga Sean. That's true. I saw that happen. I have video proof of that. Suga Sean was doing an interview. Henry Cejudo walked up and challenged him during the live interview, and that footage is still going. And Sean said to Henry, and I quote, "Hey man, are you serious?" Caught him off guard. So if you're talking about head-to-head competition, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think has won that? Henry has said that he'll fight Suga Sean, but he's also said I deserve to fight for a championship. Why would I waste my time with you? I think that's reasonable by Henry. Rude, I think that's reasonable, though. Suga Sean is saying, I want the opportunity, and if to get it, I got to go through you, then I will bring it on Henry. That's reasonable to me. But we're not having that conversation. We're having the debate of who should fight Aljo. Should it be Suga Sean or should it be Henry? But in a straight line bracket, when everything else is the same, you turn to head-to-head competition. It seems to me we shouldn't be discussing which one of them fights Aljo next. We should be finding a date for Henry to fight Sean. That doesn't make me right. There's a number of conversations that we can have. But we've got to the same point in time where Suga Sean still has the beautiful placement. Now he's got the beautiful ranking. People who weren't calling him out, people who wanted to fight him because he wasn't ranked high enough. That was even Henry's reason. Well, he's now ranked number one. What is the excuse now? And why haven't these fighters latched on? And do you see the point to my theme that when there's a title fight, even though you don't know how it's going to go, do you see the advantage of inserting yourself somewhere? Being on the tip of everybody's tongue, being the next guy in line. Do you see the advantage of that? The fact that 135 let Jan and Suga Sean fight. And for weeks and even a month, we're not banging drums. I mean, do you see the difference? Because the juxtaposition happened 2 fights later. It was Alex Volkanovski, who has nothing to do with the weight class, but inserted himself and then sat his ass in the front row and eventually got called in the ring. Do you see the difference in approaches, and do you see the difference in outcomes?